Hey everyone, Tony D with a final hot take of the evening. Quick reminder, please subscribe, smash like, and subscribe to me on BitChute because YouTube is changing something. And who knows, I might be gone. Also, if you can, please spread the link for my Living in 2020 music video. It was a lot of work, and I'd really like to get at least 1,000 hits on the damn thing. So if you could take the link and post it somewhere, I don't know, Facebook, Reddit, wherever you go, show your friends. Like the thing to go viral, but you can never predict what's going to be hot. Anyhow, let's take a look at this. Michael Bloomberg pays fines for 32,000 Florida felons so they can vote. Yeah, this is how much Michael Bloomberg apparently hates Trump. Of like a burning passion of 100 suns. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg has helped pay the outstanding fines and fees of 32,000 convicted felons in Florida so they could regain their right to vote ahead of the November election, according to a report. The billionaire and former presidential candidate raised over $16 million for and donated $5 million to the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, according to Axios. Bloomberg's push would benefit ex-cons as part of a 2018 state constitutional amendment allowing felons who have served their time to regain their right to vote. But before they can regain that right, however, they need to pay any fines, fees, and restitution. In a statement to the news outlet, a representative for Bloomberg said, "The right to vote is fundamental to our democracy, and no American should be denied that right." Does anybody believe that's why Michael Bloomberg paid those fines? I don't think so. Continuing, working together with the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, we are determined to end disenfranchisement, disenfranchisement, and the discrimination that has always driven it. I don't think Michael Bloomberg gives a whit whether or not Florida felons can vote. Come on. Come on. I mean, did the person who say this, were they able to say it without giggling through it? On Monday, the FRRC shared a New York Times op-ed titled, "This is How Bloomberg Can Help Biden Win Florida." The piece praised the decision to spend $100 million in the Sunshine State to boost Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden as he fights neck-and-neck race against President Trump. However, it also urged Bloomberg to spend some of his money paying those fines and fees. It's, look, do I think felons should vote? Well, maybe some felons that have paid their debt to society. But if you owe the state money, it seems like more of a debtor's prison kind of situation. I think if you've done your time, you know, half the reason these guys commit crimes is they don't have any money. Some of these guys can never pay that money back. And, you know, really, if they can't pay the money, if they owe like another $100 or whatever, they should do another day or two in jail and call it even. I don't think they should leave jail in debt to the state. That seems wrong. If they've done their time, you call it even. I mean, you got to tack on another couple of weeks if it's part of the punishment. You know, I mean, if they can't pay restitution, you got to put a lien on their paychecks. I guess isn't that what it's called, a lien or something? I don't know, but there's plenty of other people who are law-abiding people who don't vote. And maybe it'd be better to spend your money on them. Maybe poor people who can't afford to take the day off. Give them a little boost up. Give them the day off. Give them some money so they don't lose out on the day. But, you know, these guys don't think that way. You're talking about felons. These guys will probably laugh right in your face and either not vote or vote for Trump or vote for whoever they want. So I don't think your bribe is, like a contract, Bloomberg. 32,000 felons. How many are even going to bother? You know, maybe a bunch of them will go in and write Bloomberg on the ticket, not realizing who's running. But apparently, there was rumblings that they might investigate Bloomberg for some kind of violation. I mean, he did run for president, and this is sort of like paying people to vote. But I don't think anything will come of it. Bloomberg's too rich. He could tie it up in the courts forever. And, you know, uh, letting 32,000 felons off the hook, that's probably a good thing in the long run. But I think it's a pretty shady proposition. It's, you know, that you're just trying to basically buy votes for Florida. Florida's lost Bloomberg, and it's lost because of one man, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders praised Fidel Castro's Cuba. And there are a lot of Cubans that live in Florida. And the moment they heard that, oh, they lost their damn minds. They hate Castro. They've always hated Castro. And we're talking generations of Cuban Americans hate Castro. And with very good reason. So the moment Biden embraced Bernie Sanders into his campaign and all his wonderful socialist ideas, oh, they're so out. They're so out. They're so on the Trump train. In fact, I just heard recently there was a car parade or truck parade for Trump. Cuban Americans for Trump, 9,200 vehicles. That's a lot of friggin' vehicles in a parade. And meanwhile, like, Biden can't get arrested in some of his own rallies, you know. Hardly anybody shows up. He just looks anemic and weak. So I don't think this is really going to do much. You know, I think Florida, the Dems lost Florida the moment Bernie Sanders waded into the fray. And he opened his mouth up about Fidel Castro, I believe, before he dropped out of the race, like fairly late in the game for him, and it just hurt him again. So, you know, the idea that socialism is going to work, is going to get you elected, is so ridiculous. And the Democrats, I mean, they've just gone off a cliff. They've gone off the left cliff. And they're falling and falling and falling, and all the way down. They're like, we're going to win. They're not going to win. You know, some of you out there in the comment section are worried that the Democrats are going to cheat. Yeah, I think they're going to cheat. I think they're going to cheat big time. But usually when these guys cheat, and the Democrats really, I mean, they both cheat, but the Democrats have elevated it to an art form, really. But usually the way they cheat is it's got to be close to be able to cheat. Because, you know, if you lose an election by 1 million votes and you stuff the ballot box with a, you know, extra 1.5 million, people are going to be outraged. They're going to know you cheated. And, you know, unless the people cheating really want a civil war on their hands, I don't think it's going to work. And quite frankly, I don't think the cheating's going to work. I think they're going to be so behind when the vote totals come in, they'll be stunned. They'll be, you know, they'll just start looking at the vote totals and go, this can't be right. We can't be losing by this much. And they have to plan this stuff ahead of time. So I'm sure somewhere in a warehouse, they got 100,000 votes. They're getting, you know, they're packing them ready to go for some of these districts. But I don't think it's gonna matter. I think Trump is going to landslide in every election. I think the down ballot races too. It's going to be red. Biden's campaign and the Democrats. Is there any organization or group of people they haven't pissed off at this point? I mean, I read recently the unions, all the rank and file are Trump guys. The leadership is still hardcore Democrat, but nobody's listening to them anymore. You've had the cops. The cops, a lot of them endorsed Clinton back in the day. I'm talking Bill Clinton. And they were very pro-Democrat since then, but There's no way. There's not a single cop union that I could imagine would back Joe Biden at this point. Not a one. Why would they? After after the things he said, you know, when cops sense their budgets are being cut, they go ballistic. This guy is entertaining the notion of defunding the police and in some places abolishing the police. No, no way. No way. People won't stand for it. And that's another whole group of people. The cop supporters. You got your Karens and people. You know, Alyssa Milano just had to call the cops. Even she's got to start cracking. Like, oh, I guess we need the cops. Duh. So, yeah, I mean, there's a big gap to make up here, folks. A big gap. And the other big news is on the YouTubes, as they say, is that the black vote is very much going in Trump's favor. And I could have told you that too, just by what I've seen on YouTube. I've seen more and more black YouTubers talking about Trump, liking Trump. I see interviews with black Trump supporters. They're very enthusiastic about Trump. They are. A lot of them see the BLM movement as insanely hypocritical and wrong and stupid because it is what it is. It's a Marxist front for a bunch of nonsense. When the BLM came out against the nuclear family, and they made a huge mistake, and they know it too because they took it off their site. The black community is pretty traditional, especially the people who in the black community vote, because those people are upstanding citizens. They have families, they have real jobs. You know, those people are definitely going to not vote against their interest here. And Biden has proven time and time again. First off, he can't handle himself. And he said some real racist things back in the day, in my view. You know, and stuff that back then might have flown for the 70s. You know, he that was coming out of a time when some of that segregation nonsense was still trickling into D.C., but you know, that stuff doesn't fly now, and they got Biden saying all kinds of stuff that just sounds very uncomfortable. So, you know, you could turn to Trump and say, "Oh, he's a racist," but people have been screaming that for the last 4 years, and it hasn't really stuck. I don't think anybody believes it. I certainly don't believe it. Trump's not a racist. Guy lived in New York his whole life. You know how many racists live in New York? Very, very few, because they eventually just they stop being racist. They just live. They live in New York, where there's a melting pot of people. Okay, and even a guy like Trump, you know, he's not. You know, the real hardcore racists are the guys who live out in the sticks. They don't know anything. It comes from ignorance. It comes from how they're raised. You know, this whole thing about Trump being racist is just utter nonsense. Joe Biden, on the other hand, stuff on tape that don't sound very good. So, you know, Bloomberg tried to buy his way into the presidency. Now he seems to want to try to buy Biden into the presidency. I don't see why. I don't see what it gets him. He's already got billions of dollars. Does he hate Trump that much? Maybe. Trump certainly embarrassed him. But, you know, Trump's done that to a lot of people. So I say, Bloomberg, you've got all the money in the world, man. Why? Why do you even bother? Like, if I had your $52 billion, you know, besides running my business, running the empire, which has got to take a lot of time up. I don't even know how you have time for this. But, you know, go do cool stuff. You've got all this money. You can do anything you want. I mean, think about it out there. Write in the comments. What would you do if you had $50 billion? I tell you what I'd do. Nothing. I'd do nothing for a while. Probably be like 500 pounds. I'd probably still make videos just for fun. I do everything for fun because I'm a billionaire. I don't have to work. So it just shows you, like, I guess because these people work and work and work their whole lives, you know, they just can't stop. They just can't stop. And, like, I guess with Bloomberg, maybe it's his ego. Trump kind of beat him at his game, and Bloomberg just wants to get him. Oh, it's Donald Trump. I'm gonna get him. I don't think it's gonna work. Bloomberg, nobody liked him. I mean, he's probably the only person other than Kamala Harris that's the most unlikable who was on the stage with the other Democrats. He is probably the most unlikable, and then Kamala Harris. But man, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But that's politics, baby. That's politics. All right, that's it for me. We'll see you tomorrow night.